Welcome to another Zen pop-up. So in this Zen pop-up, what I want to look at is sizing a logo. So it doesn't have to be a logo, it could be anything, but the main thing is here not to oversize things for your website. Why don't you want to oversize things for your website? It's really simple. The larger the size of the image, the slower your web page will take to load. So it's important that we optimize our images that are going into our site. Now it can be quite hard to see the sizes that are actually going to appear. So I'm going to show you a way to do it using Canva. So Canva is a really good way because you can export things out and you can then crop things inside Zenler to use as your logo, which can be really good and efficient for you. So let's go into Canva now and just see our Canva template. So this is a free version of it. I didn't want to use the pro version just to show you how it can be done in here. And I'm going to create a design. And the design I'm going to pick a standard size. The standard size that I use, and if you've watched my videos in the past, you'll know that my favorite size is 1920 by 1080. Why? Because that's high HD. Okay, so that ratio 1920 width by 1080 height is high HD. And it means it can be used in a plethora of places within your Zenler platform, including course cards, video thumbnails, and it all works with those. All the sizes work in the same proportions. So it's a really good size to work with. So if you remember anything from this video, try to always work with 1920 by 1080. It's also really good for background images. So it's a good size overall to use. Now let's click in here, 1920 by 1080, and now we have our canvas. So the thing about Canva is Canva doesn't show you the actual size that you're seeing. So it can be really confusing as to knowing what size you're going to produce your images out at. So if we go in, for instance, and I grab some text and I put some text in here, or let's go and grab an actual image here, like this sail. Okay, so we got this sail icon in here and we might want to change the text. I'm not going to change anything, but what we're looking at here is actually we're looking at this at 68% the size. Now, we might not want it at 68% the size of this, because if we actually view this actual size, you're going to see that if we put this little slider down here in this right hand corner to 100%, this is the size that you're seeing here. Let me just put in here 100 there. So obviously that might be too big for your site. Why would you upload an image that's far too big when you're going to use it at a smaller size? So what I suggest you do is set this to 100%, then take the graphic, whatever graphics you've got, just select across all those graphics and then just reduce it down until you eyeball it at the actual size you want. So say in my website, I actually want it to be about that big. Okay, so I can just about read that. It's all good. So I know that if I exported it out, this part of the image will be exactly at the right size because I've got this set on 100%. Now this is where it's confusing to people because they have it like this and they don't realize that they're looking at it at 429% of the size, which isn't correct, you know? So if you want to see it at an actual size, you use this little slider and go to 100%. Now you're going to say to me, well, okay, that's fair enough, but you've done that image and we've got a load of canvas space now all around the outside. If I bring it down, you're going to see this is where it sits. So we've created a massive image, but remember we can crop images inside of Zenler. So if we export this out, we could crop it when we bring it in and it will be on that crop, it will be this size. So that is an important thing to realize. So this could be used with logos, it could be used with images, it could be used with anything that you want in your site. But remember that inside Canva, setting this on 100% will give you the actual size on the screen that you're seeing. And this is where the confusion can happen with new users to sort of any kind of image editing program. So what we're going to do is I'm going to reduce this down. We know this is the actual size. We're going to reduce it down there and I'm going to go to share. Now notice I haven't centered that or anything. I don't care because I'm going to crop it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select download and I'm going to go and I'm going to select a JPEG type here and I'm going to leave it on 100%. Now if you're using the pro version, you have a few more options that you don't in the free version, such as you can save transparent backgrounds. You can actually change the size in here, the whole size, but in the free program we've got to export it out at the actual size. So the image quality also can be changed, but it's on 80%, so it's good enough. So I'm going to click download now, and it will download that into my download folder. You can see it's going to pop up in my download folder. There it is. And I'll just open my folder up now. So we can see there it is. So I've got it. So I'm just going to call this, I'll call it watch for now. And I will just put that on my desktop. Okay, so let's close that down. Let's jump into Zenler now. Okay, I'm going to just go into a page and I'm going to be cropping this to put it in there. Let's go to site. Let's go to pages. If you've watched my videos before, you'll also see that I have a template page, an unpublished page that I use to test things out. So I'm just going to use that one as a test. So I'm going to hit edit, and that's going to then open it up and allow me to drop it in as an image. Now, as soon as I drop it in as an image, I can actually crop that image down. So I'm only going to crop it to that image, getting rid of all that white space around the outside. So this can be really a good way of working. So let's let that load. Let's just come in here and just drop in another box in here. Let's go and add an element. Let's add an image element. And this is the bit that we're going to upload. So we're going to click upload. We're going to go and find that. That's actually on my desktop. So there it is. And I'm going to click open. So straight away, it's given me a box here. Now in this box, I can go ahead and I can crop this down to the size of the image that I want. So I'm not having all that white space around the outside. So I'm actually utilizing Zenler's crop feature to crop my image out. So that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go crop and upload. Now what you're going to see is that's our image. So it's actually made it bigger than it actually is. So we had it about that size. So now you can see that it's actually good and that works. So that's how we can actually get our image in there, and we can make sure that our images are optimized and following that format. You can see in there, let me just go to 100%. That's the size of the image, and that's roughly the size of the image inside here, a little bit bigger, something like that. So that's how we can do it. It's a handy little trick, and it really works really well if you're not used to doing these sort of things. So I'm just going to save that out, and then we're just going to look at where that image is. So I'm going to jump into pages. I'm going to go down to my media library now, and inside my media library you can see I've got that image in there. So what I can do is I can just download that and use that as a logo. So if I click download now, it's going to download it, notice. And if I open that folder up, you're going to see now it is cropped. So this is the original and this is the crop version. So now with that crop version, I could use that for a logo. So if I want to get that size right, I can use Canva and I can use the crop ability inside Zenler to crop it down and get it in there. Now I know you're going to say, well, I can use Photoshop. I can just crop it in there. Yes, there are faster ways of doing it. But if you haven't got access to some of these pro tools, this is a good way of you actually being able to do that. So understanding how this works and understanding how the view sizes inside Canva is critically important if you are using Canva to create your graphics. So think about this. It gives you a lot of options in what you want to do with your website, but it's certainly a good way to crop images down so you can export out and get the size exactly right inside Canva. Don't worry about the outside. Bring it into Zenler, use Zenler's crop ability, and then just go into the media library, download that file, and you've got a cropped version at the exact size. So this works really well for logos. It also works well for graphics, buttons, things like that inside your website. Now I'm going to be using the same procedure to actually create a Zenler logo for an email, and I'm going to be doing that in a Zen pop-up very soon. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you on the Zen pop-up very soon.